Just a great win by the Philadelphia Eagles, a championship-level win. You just got to find a way to come out with the victory in that type of muddy game, and that's what the Eagles did. That's what the Eagles do, and this is what championship teams do. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, now 5-0 in-season openers, and this is a night that started with the Eagles putting up their second Super Bowl banner at a sold-out Lincoln Financial Field, right in front of Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, and it ends with an Eagles 24-20 victory. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making our post-game reaction show a part of your evening. Or if you're waking up with this on a Friday morning, it's a Victory Friday here on Eagles Now, and we're so glad that all of you are hanging out here with us. And what a game this was with everything that happened, right? The Eagles escape with the 4-point victory after Jalen Carter got ejected for spitting on Dak Prescott before a play was run from the line of scrimmage. VanSumeren, special teams ace, starting fullback who made the initial 53, looks as though he may have torn his ACL on the opening play of the game on that kickoff. Philadelphia and Dallas had to go into the locker room for more than an hour because of a weather delay because there was lightning in the area. That really halted the momentum for both teams on the offensive side of the football. And once they came out of the locker room after that lightning delay, the offenses really couldn't do much. And before that weather delay, these offenses could not be stopped. Philadelphia had more than 100 penalty yards in this game, yet they still come out with a win. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I know that here on this show, we like to make fun of the Dallas Cowboys. They have been pretty irrelevant for the most part for damn near 30 years. That's 3 decades. And we always like to toy with Cowboys fans who are delusional, who will say that every year is their year. But coming out of this game, pretty impressed with Dallas, which goes into the fact that I want to make this point. That's a really high-level win for the Philadelphia Eagles on opening night to start the year off on the right foot and to find a way to win. And there was a lot of good that came out of this victory for the Birds here tonight. Total offense, 302 yards, 4.9 yards per play. They can get better there. Jalen Hurts was incredible. He was awesome in this game. So efficient, 19 of 23, 144 yards. What he did on the ground with his feet, scoring 2 touchdowns with his legs, extending plays, pretty much iced the game away, juking a linebacker out of his cleats. He was big time in this ball game. And you look at his numbers here to my right, 19 of 23, 152 yards. The Eagles as a team officially throw for under that when you factor in some of the negative yard splits there. And Hurts runs for 62 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So many casuals try to tell me Jalen Hurts isn't a talented runner. He's not a dual threat quarterback. He only scores touchdowns on the tush push. Well, not only were the Eagles perfect on the tush push tonight, and they can still run that play, which is their play, trademark, sponsored by Dude Wipes, but Jalen Hurts turned garbage into gold. And on those running touchdowns, he surveyed the field. Nothing was there downfield. He had to buy time. And he used his athletic ability to either evade defenders to get into the end zone or to beat corners and defenders to the pylon to get into the end zone. And for me, one of my biggest takeaways of this game is how well Jalen Hurts played. He was quick. He was decisive. He was accurate. He made clutch plays. He used his legs to his advantage. And it's not like he was running after coming off of his first read. He was going through his progressions, trying to dissect what the defense was doing. And then when he had to make plays with his feet, he made plays with his feet. Only took 1 sack for 8 yards. Eagles offensive line pretty damn good in this game, although run blocking, they can be a little bit better. And his rating, 94.2. He outplayed and played better than Dak Prescott. So this win for the Eagles, closing it out, finding a way to win a one-possession game, to ice it, to come through in the clutch, to win a game that could have gone either way, that was a nail-biter when the pressure was on. This is what championship teams do. This is the championship identity of the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jalen Hurts even said it after the game. There is so much that we can clean up for us to get so much better. And now Jalen Hurts has won 15 straight games that he has started and finished. The guy is an absolute winner. And I value wins for my quarterback. And you can see tonight how much better the Eagles can get as the season progresses. And by starting off 1-0, now you have to travel to Arrowhead next week, Super Bowl rematch against the Kansas City Chiefs. You give yourself some breathing room, some wiggle room. Whereas if you lost this game, it would have been crushing. You would have had a sour taste in your mouth because you lost it to the Dallas Cowboys in a game that you should have won. And then can you imagine the immense pressure that would be on Philadelphia playing Kansas City next week, staring down the gun barrel of being 0-2? That would be a disaster. Now, we do have to talk about Jalen Carter here. What Jalen Carter did tonight was idiotic. And I know that during the rain delay, during the weather delay, NBC went back and they went through the Zapruder film and they found out that Dak Prescott actually spit or spat toward Jalen Carter first, then Jalen Carter retaliated. And I tweeted this out. If the NFL can take further discipline on Jalen Carter and suspend him for spitting on Dak Prescott, shouldn't Dak Prescott face a penalty because he's the one who spit toward Jalen Carter first? And some people were saying, Chase, he didn't spit at Jalen Carter. He spit on the ground. Dak Prescott literally made eye contact with Jalen Carter, went in between two of his offensive linemen and teammates, and spit on the ground toward Jalen Carter. So what did Jalen Carter do? Walked up to him, and he spit on his chest. Just because Dak spit first does not excuse what Jalen Carter did. It was idiotic. It was dumb. He spit in the face of all of his teammates. He nearly cost the Eagles the game because you could tell the Eagles defense wasn't the same without their best defensive player. And Jalen Carter up until this point has been a great player for this Eagles team. It's one of the best overall defensive players in the National Football League. He has had no issues really with the Eagles. He's liked inside that locker room. But there were character concerns for him coming out of Georgia, and this will not help. It is immature. It is stupid. It's avoidable. And Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, they are not happy about this. And for Jalen Carter, you are contract eligible after this year. You were a second-team All-Pro last year. You took over games. You're a big reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Without him taking over the game late in the divisional round against the Rams, Eagles may have gotten bounced by Los Angeles in that game. But when you're contract eligible and an organization is thinking about giving you $30 to $40 million per year, they have to know, they must know that their investment is going to be a safe investment. And you can't do dumb, delusional, idiotic things like that. So Jalen Carter has to be better. I don't care that Dak spit first. You don't retaliate. And he has to control himself because he didn't there. He has some emotional immaturity, and he has to mature if he wants to be a pillar for the Eagles organization and get paid. Because if he can keep his head on straight, he can go down as one of the best Eagles players in the history of this organization. That's how talented he is. A lot more takeaways to get to from this game. But our sponsor for our post-game show, our friends at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. It's the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. You can win up to 2,000 times your money. And right now, when you play your first $5 lineup, you get $50 back. Claim that right now at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Our lineup for tonight, Dak Prescott. He threw for more than a half passing yard. That was the special. Jalen Hurts. He ran for 2 touchdowns. That was more than the half rushing and receiving touchdown. We missed on the Saquon Barkley, more than 92.5 rushing yards. If it weren't for that weather delay, I think you would have gone over that. Plus, Landon Dickerson got hurt late in this game as well with that back. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups. Real money sports action made easy. Thank you so much to PrizePicks for powering our postgame show. All right, more takeaways that I have here. A big concern, Adoree Jackson, an overall cornerback too. It has been a concern all throughout the summer, preseason, training camp. We weren't sure if the Eagles had a legit corner or a corner who we at least have confidence in, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell on the outside. Adoree Jackson is not it. He got beat multiple times. He had some bad penalties. And whether he was going up against CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens, the Cowboys made it a point to go after number 8 to try to exploit the Eagles secondary, and they found a lot of success in doing so. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at the PFF numbers for how much he was targeted and the passer rating he gave up when targeted. But Adoree Jackson in this game got cooked, fried, and filleted. He's not good enough to be an outside corner for this team if they have Super Bowl aspirations. And what I would do, just roll and go with Jacorian Bennett right now, because Adoree Jackson is not cutting it. Jake Elliott, that long field goal that he hit, clutch. Huge in this game. If he doesn't connect on that, Cowboys have an opportunity with Brandon Aubrey to maybe win the game with the field goal. And that kick that Jake Elliott made, he was 1 of 7 on kicks of 50-plus yards last year. He connects from 58 and he hit the back net. That was a great sign. Saquon Barkley, I thought, looked really good. The Cowboys sold out to try to stop the run. Here's a memo to Philadelphia. Teams are going to do that. And they're going to force Jalen Hurts to beat you through the air because they know that Saquon Barkley is the game changer for this Eagles offense. 18 carries, 60 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. The rushing touchdown that he had from 10 yards, he was physical, and he powered through some Cowboys defenders. Eye test wise, he looked like the player from last year, easily. And prior to the weather delay, he had a couple of really nice chunk runs. Then Landon Dickerson went out. Eagles struggled to run it, but they were also in predictable running situations. And so context obviously important there, but it's really important that Saquon looked as good as he did. You know who I was also impressed by? Jahad Campbell and Andrew Makuba. 2 rookie starters on this Eagles defense. Jahad Campbell had this play where he covered the tight end down the seam. It wasn't Jake Ferguson. It was the backup tight end. And he ran with the tight end step for step down the seam. And then right when he needed to get his arm out to bat down that pass, he did it. That's a high-level football player right there. And Jahad Campbell is a guy. Vic Fangio used him as an edge rusher. He used him as a blitzer. Obviously used him a lot in coverage. The sky's the limit for him. And then on the fumble for Miles Sanders, which was a huge play in this game, which was also potentially one of the deciding plays in this game, Jahad Campbell came off the backside, him and Byron Young. Byron Young played well tonight, forced that fumble, and Quinyon Mitchell scooped it. If it wasn't for Dak Prescott tackling him, that could have been a scoop and score for 80-plus yards, I believe, for Quinyon Mitchell. But Jahad Campbell passing the eye test. Andrew Makuba, he was around the ball. This is what the guy does. You know, he had 5 picks and 11 pass breakups at Texas last year, and the lowest passer rating when targeted among college safeties. Injuries are a concern, but you see what the Eagles like in him, on top of the positional versatility, which he obviously has. This was a cool note. Michael Jordan spotted at tonight's Cowboys-Eagles game, and he is believed to be there as a guest of Jalen Hurts, who is wearing the new Air Jordan 11 Love Hurts sneakers and cleats. And he did the MJ shrug after his first touchdown of the game. In that first half, couple of notable developments here too. Without Jalen Carter, Moro Ojomo played 29 to 30 defensive snaps. Jordan Davis was very active in this game. It was good to see him kind of taking over in moments. He left some meat on the bone, but he was around the ball and he was impactful. In that first half, he played 26 to 30 defensive snaps. Nolan Smith, he was really active. He had 2 personal foul penalties, but he made his presence be felt as well. He played in that first half 27 to 30 snaps. And then Drew Makuba played 24 to 30 defensive snaps. He's the safety ahead of Sidney Brown. Hurts at the half, he was just surgical. And he was a one-man wrecking crew. 93 passing yards, 48 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a rating of 101.9. And obviously, after the weather delay, it took the offensive momentum away from both offenses. Like, they really couldn't move it. But up until that point, the stats might not be gaudy for Jalen Hurts, but he was the MVP of this game. Just going to look at my feed to see what updates we have. The Eagles, by the way, came so close to generating even more turnovers. They won the turnover battle 1-0, but Dak Prescott threw a lot of balls up for grabs. That's why I said during the pregame show, pressure Dak Prescott. He can fold and he can cough the ball up. He almost did on multiple occasions. CD Lamb is a great elite player, and I have a lot of respect for him. You could tell that with his mistakes tonight, it hurt. But for how much money he makes and how great he is, he drops a lot of passes. And he dropped some big passes in this game. What else do we got? No injury news that I'm seeing yet. We'll monitor what's going on with Jalen Hurts. But that's the post-game reaction right there. Thought Hurts played at an A level. I thought the offense as a whole played at like a B- C+ level. One thing I am concerned about, A.J. Brown got targeted one time. How does he get targeted one time? I know he's going up against Trayvon Diggs, but what was a concern for me that in the passing game, Dallas Goedert was fantastic, by the way. Guys couldn't get open downfield. Now, there was that 51-yard shot downfield from Hurts to Jahan Dotson. It was great to see Dotson take the top off of the defense, but play calling-wise, play design-wise, scheme-wise, is there a concern there with Kevin Patullo? I thought Hurts looked good, which is great under another new play caller and offensive coordinator. But what was developing downfield? We'll have to take a look at the all-22 tape to really dig into that. Defense, I'll give them a B. Special teams, you got to give them an A. And that was a big key of this game going in. Also, the Eagles as an organization, their all-time record is now 500 for the first time since 1933. Again, such an impressive win. A championship caliber win for Philadelphia. Thanks to everybody who tuned into our watch party. Well over 200,000 views, nearly $2,000 in super chats. It was a blast. Eagles football is back, and we're going to continue to give you the best content here on the channel. Grade that Eagles win against the Dallas Cowboys. A, B, C, D, or F. You let me know. Peace.